Budget crossovers are all the rage lately, a fact that Toyota is finally coming to realize. So instead of soldiering on with the Vios and the Yaris in the subcompact space, they finally decided to hop onto the bandwagon and grab a slice of that budget crossover pie. In this video, we are going to check out the top-spec Toyota Raize 1-liter Turbo and see if it has the chops to become Toyota's next local bestseller. Let's do this. Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car feature. If you're new to my channel, I want you to click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Filipino automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But first, click that like button. Also, special thanks to Toyota Valenzuela for providing the Toyota Raize 1-liter Turbo to do this car feature. If you are within the area and you have a need for any Toyota, you can head on down here to Toyota Valenzuela and check them out. For any inquiries, you may also contact the person in my pinned comment below. Toyota has been noticeably absent in the value subcompact crossover space, a fact that the other car makers capitalized on. These other car makers grew their market share using this category, a reality that Toyota can no longer ignore. So what does Toyota do? Well, they turn to their Daihatsu brethren and using the Daihatsu Rocky platform, built this Toyota Raize to compete in this category. Now, the Raize is meant to be a global vehicle model being sold in emerging markets worldwide. And from my first impressions of this vehicle, well, it looks like it's a solid first try from the giant car maker. Now, locally, we get 5 variants of the Toyota Raize with this top-spec Raize Turbo retailing for 1,031,000 Philippine pesos. Now, that's a pretty compelling price that might eventually take away some sales from the mighty Toyota Vios. But then, we'll find out in my video what sort of features you get for your money. The Toyota Raize may be based off the Daihatsu Rocky, but it does get a different design for its front fascia. It shares that same chunky and squared-off look that can be found in the Toyota RAV4 and to a certain extent, the Corolla Cross. Now, the top-spec Toyota Raize Turbo gets these full LED DRLs, LED headlights, but we only get halogen fog lights there at the bottom part. Now, if you look at the front bumper of this thing, well, it's sharp and edgy and kind of reminds me of a larger and lifted Toyota Wigo. Now, there's really no surprise there, guys, because the Toyota Wigo is also a Daihatsu, and so is this Toyota Raize. Here on the side, you can see that the Toyota Raize is a small crossover. In fact, it's even smaller than, let's say, the Kia Stonic, although the Raize is a tad bit taller. Now, this top-spec Raize gets a blacked-out A and B pillar here, as well as a blacked-out roof. But if you'll notice, the C-pillar is still in a body color, giving it more of a youthful vibe. Now, this top-spec Toyota Raize also gets larger 17-inch alloy wheels here that are wrapped in 205/60 R17 tires. Now, I love the design of these wheels because they look gorgeous in my eyes. However, a little bit of a concern here are the mechanicals found behind these wheels. You see, even this top-spec Raize, well, it still gets ventilated disc brakes up front, but we only have drum brakes at the back. Now, I find it kind of weird seeing drum brakes in a crossover nowadays. But then guys, well, this is a Toyota, so I guess it's okay, right? Now, for the suspension parts, we also get a MacPherson setup in the front and a torsion beam at the back. As I said guys, it is a bit on the budget meal side. However, well, this Toyota Raize still has a healthy ground clearance because the Raize stands at 185 millimeters, which is still plenty decent enough to go through a light city flood. The Toyota Raize Turbo gets a full LED taillight units here that are connected in the middle by this glossy piano black center strip, which kind of reminds me of another small value crossover out there, although I can't really put my finger on it. But yeah, it should be appearing on your screen right about now. Well, this Toyota Raize still has that distinctive look back here because it looks a little bit more rugged than the other value subcompact crossovers in the category. That's mainly due to the fact that we get this black plastic inserts found on the top of the rear bumper, plus the lower half of the rear bumper itself is also made of black plastic cladding, giving it more of a rugged look. Now when you pop open this manual liftgate, you'll notice that the Raize gets 369 liters of cargo space, which is even larger than the boot space found in the bigger Geely Coolray. Now this 369 liters can accommodate one medium-sized luggage, as you can see, plus you can put a hand carry luggage right beside it. Now in case you need more space than 369 liters will allow, well, the good news here is the Raize has back seats that split fold and they fold completely flat guys, so that gives you a truly versatile cargo space in the Toyota Raize. The top-spec Raize Turbo gets a snail under the hood to differentiate it from the lower variants. Now, in case you're wondering, there is a snail whose name is Turbo, so now you know. Now, what we have here is a 1-liter, 3-cylinder turbocharged gasoline motor that puts out a whopping 97 horsepower and 140 Newton meters of torque. Now, all of this power is sent to the front wheels via Toyota's brand spanking new transmission, which they call DCVT. Now, this DCVT transmission uses a combination of belts and gears to maximize transmission efficiency. At lower speeds, it uses CVT belts, but at higher speeds, it switches to gears to be able to attain that maximum transmission efficiency. Now, the Toyota Raize is the first Toyota vehicle to be equipped with this fancy new transmission, but we can expect future Toyota models to also come with this DCVT transmission. Now, one of the main reasons why the Toyota Raize is such a big deal is because it's the most feature-packed budget Toyota straight out from the factory. Now, this is fantastic news for millennials who always have to be connected, and at the same time, it's great news for Toyota because the Toyota Raize target market are these millennials. Now, we start off with these seats. The top-spec Toyota Raize Turbo gets a combination of faux leather and fabric seats here, which is not really a big issue, guys. At least they're still comfortable and they will keep your back and bum cool at all times. Now, don't expect to get like power adjustments here because we just get manual adjustments on your seats. Now, the steering wheel of this Raize Turbo is leather wrap, although the leather quality is, yeah, it's not really the plushest in the category, guys. But the good news is this Raize Turbo also gets a pair of paddle shifters. Now, the wheel itself gets a bunch of buttons. We have buttons for hands-free connectivity and buttons to operate your instrument gauge cluster, which I will get to a little bit later on. Now, I am a bit bummed out by the fact that we don't get adaptive cruise control here, because I do know that in other markets, like in Japan, the Toyota Raize Turbo gets adaptive cruise control as well as the full suite of Toyota Safety Sense. However, here in the Philippines, even this top-spec Toyota Raize Turbo only gets a few of the Safety Sense driver assist aids, as you can see on your screen. At least we still get blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. But yeah, those are just your safety bits. Now, the steering wheel also adjusts for tilt, But it does not telescope, guys, so yeah, that's also pretty much expected in this budget crossover space. Now, when you move over to the instrument gauge cluster, guys, I mean, wow, this is something that I didn't expect in this Toyota Raize. You see, the Raize Turbo gets this fully digital 7-inch gauge cluster that changes in design depending on your mood. So you have a choice of 4 different designs, as you can see, and yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, wow. I couldn't imagine in 1,000 years that a budget Toyota will have a digital instrument gauge cluster. I mean, wow, that is pretty cool, guys, and that is super cool. Now, when you go over to the infotainment system, the top-spec Raize Turbo gets a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system here. Wow, in a budget, in a value crossover from Toyota. I mean, Toyota, ikaw ba yan? In English, is that you? Is that you, Toyota? I mean, you're surprising me. We got a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system here, and it comes with Apple CarPlay, it comes with Android Auto, and it comes with the image of your reverse camera. Now, that is fantastic news, as I said, for millennials who are the primary target market of the Toyota Raize. Now, when you go from there, going down, we have the engine push start button, and beside that, we have a fully manual climate control setup here. Not really a big issue, guys. Of course, you have your gear shifter that's surrounded by this nice textured material that looks like a tetrahedron. And underneath that, we have here the manual handbrake. And if you're looking for your cup holders, guys, well, the cup holders can be found right underneath the side AC vents. So you just pop that out. Although it's a little bit on the small side, so yeah, I don't think my clean canteen will fit. Nope. It doesn't fit, guys, so I wouldn't even try because that might break the cup holder. In fact, I even tried the bottle holder in the door cards, and yes, those are still small. Those are too small, and they cannot fit my clean canteen. Now, when it comes to the cabin materials of this Toyota Raize Turbo, well, this is still a value Toyota model, so yeah, you could expect to get hard plastics, and you will be absolutely right. The dashboard, hard plastic, middle dash, hard plastic, door cards, hard plastic as well. Well, I'm also kind of bummed out that we don't get the red accent, the red trim found in other markets, which gives this cabin a little bit more of a pop to it. Instead, we just get this aluminum trim on the door handles, the AC vents, and also your the steering wheel. And yeah, other than that, guys, well, the entire cabin is pretty much straightforward Toyota business black and grays. The back seat of even this top-spec Raize Turbo doesn't really get any amenities because, well, we're still in the budget small crossover space. We don't get rear AC vents, we don't even get a USB charge port, heck, we don't even have a center armrest here. Well, we do have a dome light, so yeah, at least that's one plus point there. Now, Toyota has also focused on the design and the comfort of the seats because if you'll notice, the seats here at the back are a little bit higher than the seats in front. So you have a bit more of a theater style seating here. So the people at the back won't feel too claustrophobic and will have a good visibility up front. The thing is, the actual seats themselves, well, they're not too firm and they're not too soft as well. They're just right, but they do lack bolstering and they do lack thigh support. Now, guys, I'm not really a big person. I'm only 5'6", but as you can see, my thighs, like a third of my thighs, is already hanging over the seat. So yeah, if you are a taller person than I am, you might be more comfortable seated at the front passenger seat. Now, when it comes to the absolute space here at the back, well, you could put 2 average Asian adults here and they'll be comfortable, guys. You could put a third one in the middle, but it's going to be on the tight side. You know, you're going to be rubbing elbows already and stuff like that. And when it comes to, yeah, the knee room and the headroom, yeah, this is my driving position, guys. I still get a good and decent 4 inches of knee room here. And for my headroom, around 5.5 inches. So, yeah. It's what you'd expect from a small value crossover. Yeah, but I do wish that they gave us a little bit more bolstering and thigh support even here in the back seat. Well, it looks like Toyota is finally in the value subcompact crossover space, and they are here to play ball. And when a giant car maker like Toyota enters into a category to play ball, well guys, you know that they mean business. Never mind that it might eventually cannibalize Toyota Vios and Yaris sales. You see, the subcompact crossover segment, the value subcompact crossover segment, is just too lucrative to ignore. And looking at this top-spec Toyota Raize Turbo, it looks like Toyota wants to get the biggest slice of the pie. Thanks for watching.